start with the research of Dan Gilbert, psychiatrist from Harvard, and his studies tell us that the #1 predictor of happiness in your life is the quality and depth of your friendships, your relationships with your friends and family. Also at Harvard is the GRAND study. It's been running over 70 years, and it reaches a similar conclusion. The #1 correlation with happiness is the depth of your social bonds, and it's by a wide margin. And then there's John Cacioppo at the University of Chicago, and his research tells us that the lack of strong social bonds and isolation carries a stronger health risk than obesity or smoking. One more fact, the average American adult reports having just one close friend. Uh-oh. So I thought of a few different ways to get this thing started, besides the singer. And that was my favorite. I call it the setting the stakes introduction, right? Your happiness and your health. That's pretty good stakes. Let's go for it. First, I'm going to talk about how do we get to the place where we're at. Why does this happen? Second, where do we want to be? And then last, how can we make sure that our social bonds, just like our IQs, go over to the right of the bell curve?
Did you also need the projector? Or?
Well, a couple of asides.
Just audio.
So teenagers spend 20-25% of their time with friends, but adults spend about 4% of their time with their friends. We don't necessarily want to be teenagers, but 4 is a little low. So why does this happen? That's where we're starting. Well, how do we get where we're at? Well, there's several factors at play, and I'll talk about a few of them. First is biology. When you're young, you're still trying to figure out, where do I fit in the world? And you're looking around, and you're very open to all kinds of stuff, and you're exploring. And it's natural, and as you get older, of course, things change, and now you're figuring out who you are and what kind of people you want to be with, and you want to protect what you have. If I were an anarchist, I'd say, get those Democrats out of my life. Now, why do anarchists talk like Frank Costanza? I'm not sure, but in my head they do. So biologically, we change over time. Another factor is family. So if I was in college and I met some guy and he was funny, I'd say, I'm going to hang out with this dude tonight. Or I could skip class and hang out with him right now. But now, I'm married. I might meet some guy, I think he's really fun. I want to hang out with him, so I'll schedule an appointment, a dinner, 2 or 3 weeks down the road. Then he brings his partner, I bring my wife, and maybe one of them doesn't like each other. So there's an exponential increase in complexity. And if you have kids, then the ages of your kids can be as important as if you even like the other parent. So family provides a complication. Another one is culture. So in America, we like to be polite. We know we're busy. We know other people are busy. So we may not always ask for things because we know they got things going on. We just went through graduation season. Many of my friends had kids doing recitals and ceremonies and so forth and so on. So maybe I don't even ask, hey, you want to do something on Sunday? Because I know everybody's we think a lot alike, and we like to joke that we're twins. Nobody could tell us apart even if they tried. Now, she is about 5'5", Filipina. But we make that joke work well, and quite often. So online can be a great place for relationship maintenance, including inside jokes. You can say them in person, or you can blast them out there on text and other public media. So that's another great use of social media for relationship building. And one more is for media in public. Now, Weird Al Yankovic is playing at the Open Air Theater in a couple weeks. I've never gone, and I'm thinking about it, so maybe I'll shoot a message out and see if anyone wants to join me. So I'm planning an offline event online. It's another great use. So that's a lot. There's several great uses of social media, that more than I mentioned, of course. It's a communication tool, and communication can do a lot of good. So where could it possibly go wrong? Well, when we misuse it. The first thing to remember, of course, is these platforms don't exist to make you healthy or even happy. What they exist for is to hold your attention as long as possible and feed you some ads along the way. And they do that by curating your experience. And so what a lot of typically people see is political rants, cute animal photos, sexy people photos, and fear-mongering, a few other things. So if that's the experience you're getting, you're not deepening your relationships that way. And there's another maybe more subtle effect. And it's the time warp of it all. So I have contacts online that are from a prior job, the job before that, college, high school. And I'm no longer high school Todd. So let's say I see an update that a guy I sat next to in band has a daughter who got into Duke. Great, good for him. There's a lovely photo. His daughter is lovely, good for her. Is that good? I feel good. It feels like there's some kind of connection going there, but it's not really, right? I'm not in contact with this guy. It's a time warp. Okay, let me give you a story, an analogy. Let's say young Todd goes to summer camp. And while I'm there, I make a great friend. We have fun all summer long, and summer camp ends, and we're about to go back. He's going to his school, I'm going to my school. And we say, we're going to keep in touch. Even though we're going to our different places, we're going to stay in touch. Most of the time, that doesn't happen. And if it does happen, it's a little weird most of the time. It rarely works out for the best for everybody. And there's a reason. I'm now school Todd. I'm no longer camp Todd. And even though it's just a month apart, it's different. I'm no longer that person. The situation determines who I am and how I act. So the memories can actually be corrupted or tainted just by trying to bring camp Todd into school Todd. And social media is like that, but even more, because we're talking decades. So my friend who has this, my old friend, who's now daughter going to Duke, he really isn't building anything. Reminiscing's fun, and it's fine. Time killing, who cares? It's fine. But let me just say this. I don't want to tell you how to use these tools or not, but we're the smart people in the room. So we should be the smart users of social media. We should be intentional about it. This is time-killing time, and this is doing more important stuff time, my opinion. All right, a few of you aren't social media users, and you may have tuned out. We're back to the real world. We've moved on from why are we in the situation we're in, and I'm going to talk about where do we want to be. So what is a friend? How many friends do we want, and what benefits do we get? What is a friend? Now that is an interesting question because it's really unstructured and ill-defined. If I don't talk to a friend for 3 months, it might not signify anything wrong, right? I just strike it right back up. Whereas, say, marriage is totally defined. If I don't talk to my wife for 3 months, things are going on, and I don't even have to try. I know this. And this flexibility also brings strength, though. Because of that, there's not the expectations. There isn't a lot of drama that's generated by breaking expectations because there aren't so many. But it does make it tricky to define. What is a friend? Well, I'm going to go to folk wisdom for this. A friend is someone to talk to. A friend is someone to rely on. A friend is someone to enjoy. Talk to, rely on, and enjoy. That's what a friend is. I'll illustrate with a story. Beverly, what's her name? Beverly. I totally lost my place in my notes. Doesn't matter. Beverly. She's 80 years old. And she was raised to be an independent woman. That was who she was. I'm independent. I don't rely on other people because they disappoint me. And I'm not saying she had no friends. That's not what I'm getting at. But she ultimately relied on herself. Got older, got arthritis, started using a cane, got older yet, started using a walker that she named Alice. But nonetheless, she took care of herself. She still got around. And finally, though, her independence was severely challenged the day she had a stroke. Goes to the hospital. Now, she has to use a bedpan. She has to use a button to call a nurse to empty the bedpan. I haven't experienced that yet, but I believe that is an affront to your sense of independence. 5 days later, she's cleared to leave the hospital, but not to go home. She has to go to rehab facility for 3 months. And she's there, and slowly she regains use of the bathroom, regains the ability to walk around a little bit with her walker, Alice. And 3 months later, she's finally ready to go home. And it's exciting, but it's scary, because she's still not what she was before this all started. And will she be able to still be independent? Arrives home, her apartment in Brooklyn. And at the door, there's some balloons. Welcome, you're home. Oh, that's nice. But as they say on social media, you won't believe what happened next. She opened the door, and her carpet had been removed. Someone had put in hardwood floors. Furniture had been moved around a little bit so she could get around easy in her walker. The fridge was stocked. She had ordered a new bed. The bed had been set up. The old bed had to be cleared out. She was quite touched, as you might imagine. She wondered, how can I respond to this? And this is what she did. She put a note on her door. It said, the door's unlocked. Come on in if you have a chance. And almost every day, someone does. So people come and they say, hey, do you need anything? And sometimes, yes, she does. But mostly, they just come in and tell stories and share and talk. And she decided that it was okay to rely on people sometimes. She now considers herself an independent person with benefits. So Beverly has friends that she can talk to, and she can rely on, and she can enjoy. That's what we want. So how many friends? Robin Dunbar is a researcher you may be familiar with. He is the one who came up with that concept of 150 people in our social circle. And that number shows up everywhere. Military, civic, corporate organizations. They all have these 150 sized groups or smaller. And when groups get much bigger than that, they split in some way, typically, if they're healthy. Because you just can't maintain contact with more than that. That's pretty well known, but he also has smaller and smaller circles. And in his research, his small circle is 5 people. And that's about right. 3 to 5 people is the number of friends you really want, and it's impossible to have many more than that. So those are the ones that you really want. Now, I have a few facts and figures I'm going to read now. This is what this is really for, so I don't forget them. You want your 3 to 5 friends that you can talk to, rely on, and enjoy. And this is what you get for them. I teased it a little in the intro. Remember setting the stakes? A meta-analysis, 136,000 participants, found that less isolation for a higher purpose in life and a 20% lower risk of death in the elderly. That makes me laugh, right? 20% lower risk of death? But if you don't know, that just means death that could be prevented by lifestyle. In elderly, social isolation correlates with reduced immune function and increased inflammatory response via gene expression. Epidemiologically, isolated elders suffer more illness, dementia, and mortality. According to the American Psychological Association, the most effective stress reducers include exercise, time with friends and family, and creative hobby. The least effective, if you are curious, include shopping, drinking, eating, and binge watching TV. I am sorry, Netflix. Also from the APA, the best question you can ask yourself to find out, will I be alive and healthy at the age of 80, is this one. Is there someone in your life that you can call at 4 a.m. to tell your troubles? All right, one more diversion, I promise 2. And it starts with a question. Can men and women ever be friends? Of course, most of you know, Harry Met Sally, great movie. And if you've seen the movie, you've thought about this. A research psychologist answered it this way. That was a great movie, and it set back cross-gender friendships by 25 years. In fact, it doesn't matter that much. The stigma against it comes from a bygone era when men went to work and women stayed at home, and the reason they got together was for romance. Incidentally, there are prior bygone eras that didn't meet that pattern, but that's the run we remember because it's a little more recent. So I'm going to use a little stereotypes here. I know some of you don't fit in all the stereotypes, but they're shorthand, and we all play our roles, even if they're not the traditional ones. When men have women friends, such as my twin, they get some benefit in that the stereotypical, I won't say that every time, stereotypical woman gives it a little more nurturing aspect to it. You know, I experience that when I deal with other guys. A lot of times there's some competitiveness and trash talking, and it's fun, but I get a different kind of experience with women friends. So getting that diversity helps the whole thing be richer for me. And women benefit too, because they get the ability to be a little more loose and joke around a little bit more without worrying about stepping on toes. You ever heard, I wonder what she meant when she said that? Women don't ask about men as much because we don't have that kind of internal years that would even have something to worry about. So there's just a few simple rules you gotta follow. You know, there's gotta be the defined boundaries that you always stick to. If you have romantic partners, you let everybody know what's happening, and no one should be submissive or dominant. This has to be a partnership of equals. As long as you follow those few simple rules, you don't have to exclude half the population when you're looking for your best friends. All right, we're done with that aside, and now the tips, practice, what it is you can do to make your friendships more deep. And this is simple stuff. I'm not going to have light bulbs showing up in the room. You're not going to be amazed by my brilliance. Simple stuff, very practical. But the good thing is, a lot of people just don't think about it. And if you think about it, you can have a plan. And if you have a plan, you're more likely to succeed. So here's some tips. I think these are in the notes if those got around. First one's go deep. We've talked about the number of friends. You only have so much time. So up to about 5 friends is the most you can handle. I'm an Evernote user, so I have an Evernote list of my friends. You think I'm an accountant, but I'm not. So in there, I look at it every now and then, and I say, gee, have I spent enough time with all these people? Has any situation changed that I need to make any kind of adjustments? And that's how I do it. But my advice for you, the simple advice, is make a list of your friends. V is for vulnerability. So we all have everything together. This is a no drama zone, no dysfunction. Everything's great right here. Man, that was my best joke of the day and nobody laughed. Not really a ha-ha joke. And that's what we try to portray most of the time. And you know, in many situations it's appropriate. If I'm playing the computer consultant role, then I shouldn't be having my self-doubt out front and center. It's not really helping anybody, even me. But with your deep friends, intimacy and vulnerability are really the hallmark of what you want. You know, self-disclosure, it makes you seem more real, makes you seem more trustworthy, and it provides support for you. It's been said that the only purpose of hiding your problems is making sure nobody helps you with them. My friend, my twin, that I keep bringing up, she uses this as a technique. If she purposefully meets with someone and discloses something personal, she says it turns them from a casual friend to a closer friend. And she also tells me I need to do this more. And she's right. I particularly have a self-image of being in control, well self-regulated, and all these things. So it's a little bit hard for me, even more so than others, to do this. But I have found exactly what she did. There was a time a few years back, I was struggling with something, I shared it with a friend of mine, and we've been tightly bound ever since. B for vulnerability. 1% more. Okay, 1%, I mentioned 4% is the typical amount of time an adult spends with friends. If you go up 1%, you go up to 5. That's 90 minutes a week, and that investment will pay back with better relationships. And I don't think you've had a better offer this week. I'm pretty sure. And I know in several minds back there, you don't know how busy I am, Todd. I don't. I can't argue with that, but I'm still gonna argue with you. So there's kind of an attitude in America about giving everything you've got, doing everything possible to reach your goal. And it makes some sense, but it can backfire too. You need to have a sustainable lifestyle. There needs to be some self-care involved. You need to get enough sleep, eat a reasonable diet, get some physical activity, and spend time on your relationships. If you're not doing that in the long term, something will probably break. So I think it's worth it to protect your schedule enough so that you can do those things. You know, I can't make you do it. It's a challenge, and I know some of you really are just really busy for very good reasons, and I don't have a magic prioritizer for you. But I think sleep, eat, exercise, friends are all worth doing. Of course, I'm focused on the last one every day. Show up at the last minute. Oh, this is tough for me. So I've talked a lot about planning things with friends, and you know, that's great. I'm a planner and I do that a lot. Well, spontaneous fun has its place too, and just like the different genders, the different kinds of fun also provide different benefits and enriching your experience. So what if you're just vegging out one night? I'm gonna watch the Oscars, I'm gonna watch a playoff game, fold my laundry while I'm doing this, whatever. that's the time. Your friend can handle you folding laundry at the same time, and you can hang out, you can make fun of Mystery Science Theater style, ignore it, and just talk about whatever. But spontaneous fun, or going out, of course, too. I tend to do spontaneous things when I'm vegging. And the other thing I do, because it's hard for me, I'm such a planner, my wife's like twice the planner I am, but with each other, we're pretty good. We can do spontaneous things together. It's less stressful than trying to reach out to others. And you know, my wife counts. She's one of my close friends. Spouses count. So reaching out to someone to do something spontaneous is another big thing. And the next one is be an initiator. So the studies show that if you initiate activities, you get some extra benefits out of the relationship. Now, this is something I'm pretty good at. And in fact, sometimes I wonder, why don't I get it in return? Why am I always one starting things and I don't get the invitations back? But screw it, right? I'm the one getting the benefit, so who cares? I don't need to keep score. So it just takes a little drive and organization. It's not too hard to initiate things. So I would do that. I made a list of things I've initiated. The Red Pants Club, Soup Exchange Club, Super Bowl Super Todd Party, Elf Party, the girls' lunch that I do participate in. Yeah, a few more. Don't be afraid to say it. Now, telling people what they mean to you gives them validation and it increases bonding. And it's tough for the men especially. It makes us feel like wimps. But you know, if you're afraid to say it, who's the wimp? That's a good scene. I'm stopping there. I've got to list all my advice after each one, but this one, just find someone and tell them what they mean to you. Why are they important to you? One time I had an illness. I was, on bed rest for a few months. And during that time, I had some friends that came and visited, brought me things. I had other friends that would reach out, how you doing, need anything. And I had other friends completely ignored it, didn't communicate. So why did I have that disparity of response? Well, for the last group, it was hard for them to be vulnerable. Some people see relationships kind of like a competition. And in competition, you don't win by showing weakness. But the truth is, we don't win at relationships, we win by having relationships. And all that's at stake, like I said, is your happiness and your health. And I want all of you to be happy and healthy. So these are the things you can do. Write down, who are your friends? Spend a little more time with them. Schedule some stuff with them, do things spontaneous with them, and tell them what they mean to you. Doing that will give you the benefits I've been talking about. Be intentional about it. It helps you do it, having a plan. So I love ideas, I love thinking, and I love intellectuals. So I'm really excited to give these ideas to a group of Mensans, because I want the Mensans to win big at life, to win big by having relationships. And I'll disclose one other thing. I'm terrified to do Q&A, because I'm not used to being one of the dumber people in the room. But I'll try to have some. Thanks for your attention.